The hypocrisy with this is actually quite pleasant to sit back and watch fall out.
Prime Minister has lost control. The Prime Minister's own deputy quit just hours before her economic statement, all of a sudden saying, Canadians know when we're focused on ourselves, and describing a newfound disdain for costly political gimmicks. Those are her quotes. Right. This after her own political rival, Mark Carney, wrote the fall economic statement full of things that she didn't want to present. The old boys club isn't in charge. Canadians are. Right. And it's time for credible leadership in the seriousness of this moment, not the fake feminism of this phony Prime Minister. It's time for Canadians to decide. So will anyone or everyone over there finally agree?
Bad time to be a Liberal supporter, let's just say that, but I can't wait to see how they try to defend this one. I'm Jasmine Lane. This is Over Opinionated, and you can subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment your thoughts down below. Like I said, it is a very bad time to support the Liberals, and we'll get into exactly why after this.
Well, this is absolutely devastating for Justin Trudeau and also the Liberals. You know, they've got, the Liberals are behind about 18 to 20 points. They're statistically tied with the New Democrats. I guess Justin Trudeau has just learned what it feels like to be thrown under the political bus, because that's basically what Chrystia Freeland has done to him. And, the thing is, I think the big story is Jagmeet Singh. If Jagmeet Singh wants to be that progressive alternative to the Conservatives, this week is probably the day to kind of stand with the other opposition parties and demand an election, because that will force the Liberals to run under Justin Trudeau. He's back on his heels, and, one of his most loyal supporters and colleagues just basically destroyed him today. And I'm not sure he can do anything to fix this, like take this under control.
And so she writes this morning to Justin Trudeau, and let's read some of this because there is a lot to speculate and pull apart. So essentially she says, it's been the honor of my life to serve in government, blah, blah, blah. Then she says, on Friday, you told me you no longer want me to serve as your finance minister and offered me another position in the cabinet. Upon reflection, I have concluded that the only honest and viable path is for me to resign from the cabinet. To be effective, a minister must speak on behalf of the Prime Minister and with his full confidence. In making your decision, you made clear that I no longer credibly enjoy that confidence and possess the authority that comes with it. For the past number of weeks, you and I have found ourselves at odds about the best path forward for Canada. Our country today faces a grave challenge. The incoming administration in the United States is pursuing a policy of aggressive economic nationalism, including a threat of 25% tariffs. We need to take that threat extremely seriously. That means keeping our fiscal powder dry today so we have the reserves we may need for an oncoming tariff war. That means eschewing costly political gimmicks, which we can ill afford and which make Canadians doubt that we recognize the gravity of the moment. Now, it did break just a few days ago that Chrystia Freeland was actually vehemently against the GST tax holiday, which makes me laugh, obviously, because all of the Liberal supporters are like, what are you talking about? You guys are so mean being Conservatives because you don't want us to have help. Oh, you want to axe the tax, but then you don't want this one. And it's like, yeah, we do actually, because if you were knowledgeable and you looked into it, you would see that how this program was being implemented, the amount of subsidizing for provinces who are losing their HST revenue, it was going to cost taxpayers upwards of $2.7 billion.
I'm mad at myself now for having once thought he is an honest and good person when in truth he would so casually lie to the public. That's a direct quote from former Liberal Cabinet Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould, who learned the Prime Minister is a performative and fake feminist. Yep. She resigned. It was just a week ago the Prime Minister stood on stage to tell women what a great feminist he is. And then today, we learned the Prime Minister told the first ever female finance minister to do as he says or lose her role. She resigned. Wow. Even the finance minister doesn't have confidence in the Prime Minister. Selena Cesar Chavez, former parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, felt reduced to a prop for the Prime Minister's image rather than valued for her voice. She resigned. How many women will the Prime Minister throw under the bus before the leader of the NDP pulls his pathetic support for this weak Prime Minister? That's right. Canadians are done. Call an election and get rid of this fake, feminist, narcissistic Prime Minister who is destroying this country and Canadians' lives.
But I do think that this is really interesting, at the very least, to see past history and to see just how this has all unfolded. You had a woman who, regardless of her past, regardless of how evil she may or may not be, had a passion. She had something that she was really invested in. She came from a wealthy family where she was able to make all of that come true and experience a lot of things in life that none of us will ever be able to because, well, you know, our dads aren't hers. And even if you disagree with the narrative and direction or passions of hers, that doesn't mean that they're completely irrelevant and have zero use. All of these things, especially when going through history and educating yourself, very, very useful stuff. And I can acknowledge all of that while still not showing sympathy. How can I have sympathy for somebody who has done what they have done to us? But I can certainly show compassion, even for the people that I loathe the most, because I don't think I'd be a good Christian if my brain just completely shut that off. And I can also deeply reflect and observe how much signing that deal with the devil has affected one's life and led them down a very dark path where you don't even realize that you are a pawn in somebody else's game. And I think that a lot has come out in the last couple of weeks, and the wording in her letter really, really shows how bad things are behind closed doors. The fact that she states so clearly, you told me you no longer wanted me to serve as your finance minister, and you offered me another position in the cabinet. This is so spot on to what narcissistic, abusive, manipulative people do to maintain their public image. He says, I don't want you to do this anymore because you told me no. And just like everybody else who has had this role, just like everybody else who I have removed from my cabinet who told me no, I am now going to remove you because I can't handle being told no. Now, the offer of another position in cabinet is so textbook in terms of what people will do when they are doing something wrong and immoral. They don't want the world to know what it is that's going on behind closed doors. So what do they do to try to cover their ass? They offer you something else. Not only that, they surprise you with their saying that you're not going to be there anymore. And in a panic, I think ideally they hope that you will accept this offer that would be seen as a demotion to anybody so that you are still on the same page as them. If you accept that offer, you are signing another deal with the devil where you now have to go along with whatever bullshit story it is, and you have to sit there hurting in pain, feeling betrayed, while smiling and nodding, saying, yep, this was all my idea. Yeah, I'm so happy about this. Oh, well, you know, and then you just continue to lie. It's just this big ass lie that keeps on lying so that they can avoid revealing the truth. And they want you to be on board with the lie because if the truth came out, it would really hurt them. That is exactly what this signals to me, without a doubt. And it is so manipulative, so evil and vile and disgusting. And it is something that so many of us have happened to us even in our own workplaces. There are so many people that have been treated abhorrently by their employers, by their managers, their bosses, their coworkers, who scream out for help and nobody's there to listen to them because to listen to them would be inconvenient. To listen to them would be to admit that yes, something is wrong. So what do? They push you out. And then because they still don't want the truth to come out, they will then offer you another position, hoping that in the last minute while you're panicking, trying to figure out what the hell your finances are going to be like, how am I going to support my family? I've been used to this wage, that you will accept that offer and continue to go along with the lie and continue to demoralize yourself, just as they have been doing to you the entire time, thinking that you're not smart enough to realize what's going on here.
I think, right now, Chrystia Freeland can either run for the leadership or can decide who the next leader of the Liberal Party is. She's obviously decided that she doesn't want Justin Trudeau to be that person, whether she's articulated that or not. And, the thing is, by distancing herself from Justin Trudeau, not accepting another cabinet post, she's basically stepping aside and not actively supporting the Prime Minister, her leader, but still loyal to the party by saying that she's going to run in the next election. So, I think we're in a spot right now where I'm not sure. I can't envision what Justin Trudeau can do to fix this.
It is sick. It is slimy. It is pure evil. The things that people will do and try to coerce you into doing so that the truth does not come out.
Right before our eyes and at the very worst time. Today, mere hours before Trudeau's finance minister was to deliver a fall economic update that was expected to smash through her already massive deficit targets, She announced she no longer has confidence in the Prime Minister. Canadians were already anxious about the reckless $40 billion deficit the government had announced last spring, but today, in mere hours, they were expected to learn that it was much higher than that, threatening our social programs and our fiscal stability right in the middle of a potential trade war. The Prime Minister, with the help and instigation of carbon tax Carney, pushed Ms. Freeland to bring on massive, unsustainable, irresponsible spending increases that blew through her self-imposed guardrail.
And oh, how sweet this hypocrisy tastes as it's unraveling right before our very eyes. Just last week, Justin Trudeau was sitting all hoity-toity on a high chair talking about how the Conservatives are bad, Republicans are bad, and the U.S. is bad because they voted in Donald Trump, not a woman who is highly incompetent, solely because she's a woman. They should have voted her in. Even though the Liberal Party themselves has never in history had a female representative, Justin Trudeau could have stepped aside and allowed for Chrystia Freeland as an example to take that spot if he really cared so much about equality and women's rights. And instead, he pushes Chrystia Freeland out to replace her with who? Well, it wasn't a woman. Nah, he replaced her with Dominic LeBlanc.
I, Dominic LeBlanc, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will be truly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Finance and Intergovernmental Affairs.
And what of that $40 billion deficit that Chrystia Freeland resigned over not being able to maintain? Not due to her support in the various initiatives that Trudeau and the NDPs backed in order to buy votes. Well, it came out earlier today that the deficit far exceeds the $40.1 billion target. In fact, it was delivered by Karina Gould at $60 billion, $61.9 billion to be specific. I'll leave you with this as something to really think about. For all of the taxes that we pay and initiatives that we have, has anything gotten better?
You know, they can make the argument, well, we've never invested more. They pay for a special representative on Islamophobia. They pay for a special representative against anti-Semitism, right?
What has that done? Have these special representatives been out in the street shutting down these riots? What, every time there's a problem, Justin Trudeau creates a new bureaucracy. Creates a new high-paid position for someone with a corner office making $250,000 of taxpayers' money, and the problem gets worse. Spending more money on these problems is not the solution.
So you become Prime Minister. People like Amira El-Gawabi and Deborah Lyons lose their posts?
I think these posts are useless. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't think they do anything. And I also think we have to stop dividing people by race, ethnicity, religion. I think all racism is bad. I'm against every form of racism. And I also think we should treat people like individuals. And let's get back to Martin Luther King. Judge people by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Mm-hmm. There's never been more racism and racial tension than now after 9 years of Trudeau. 250% increase in police-reported hate crimes under Justin Trudeau. Why? Well, one, he allows the criminals out on the street. Two, this toxic wokeism deliberately divides our people into different racial segments and then turns them at war against each other.
I'm Jasmine Lane. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment your thoughts down below. What do you think is going to be the outcome of such a disastrous start to the week? Let me know, and I will talk to you tomorrow.